Let's talk about digital marketing. What is it? You might have heard the term "does your marketing" being used and throwing around like a buzzword. If you are absolutely from a different field, you might not know what it encompasses in a nutshell. This your marketing is just like traditional marketing. It is advertising to reach consumers through additional touch points. So what in visual channels that we have today? Well, of course, as have our social media channels. We also have search engine results, also known as Google Search, or SEM or PPC. Of course, there's also other such platforms like Yahoo and Bing. We also have display ads, which shows up on websites and apps that you visit. And finally we have video s, which we see on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, and sometimes in articles that we read online. This video at placements, often called pre-roll. Another reason for understanding the funnel will be what we call cross-channel marketing. There is a halo effect when you invest in multiple channels, most famously spending on TV as to create a winners have shown in multiple studies to have a halo effect in the middle funnel channels such as search marketing. So this means to that you might want to adjust your marketing budget accordingly. Since a customer flows through multiple advertising touchpoints before her purchase, you need to decide what channel plays a bigger role in getting that purchase and in creating that top consideration for your brand, and therefore should be given more credit for the ROI. This level analysis is what we call cross-channel attribution, but at this point is something that we will not dive into yet. If you are planning to run multiple channels, then stay tuned for another upcoming intermediate series where I will jump into more advanced topics like this one. As we start thinking about cross-channel marketing and the impact of each channel, the impact that is channel brings, this nationally brings us to the topic of measuring performance with most official platforms. Every view or in erections are fully measurable and trackable. This gives more visibility into the return of a marketing investment and therefore answers why you want to measure performance. But how shall we measure, how and to whom, and what do we benchmark ourselves against? I would say with benchmark against industry competitors, it's also good to benchmark against yourself so that you could measure the improvements in your campaigns from a month on month and year. On your perspective, I would say that sometimes this might be the best thing to do, in fact, because every business is unique and your customers also unique, and therefore this benchmarks should take into consideration the different dynamics of the businesses, and makes this nationally brings us to mixed conversation where we talk about what shall we look at in order to understand performance. So the key metrics for this or marketing war today, and how do you compute for more deep dive on measurements and metrics? I will have, or intermediate class that it's upcoming, or you could head over to check it out. It's on marketing analytics. The first metrics that we have here is impression. Impressions is the number of times your ads were served on the given channel and seen by internet users. Next we have clicks. It's obvious it's a number of times that a user clicked on your ad after seeing it and get redirected to your website. Finally, a click-through rate. Quicker rate is a formula of clicks divided by impressions to get a percentage of it. This is helpful for comparing between campaigns because you want to normalize it. Next, we have engagement rate. This is the sum of all of the value interactions that user takes on your ad, divided by the number of actions. So sometimes, perhaps on Facebook or Instagram, user might not necessarily click through your ad and get redirected to your website. Bob might choose to interact with it by giving a like. So engagement refers to this conversion, the number of products sold, leads that you've gotten, or any other conversion actions that you value as your campaign and goal. Finally, CPA or your CAC. This is the measure of return of your marketing. Investment is divided. It's basically cost divided by conversions. And finally, I would also add on that similar to measure engagement rate is also good to consider your conversion rate, and this is conversions divided by your number of clicks. That gives you an idea of how many people actually converted after clicking on your ad and get redirected to your website. Next, we'll talk about media classifications. There are whole Thailand of media channels these days, and it's good to see them in 3 categories: organic in media and paid media. Organic channels are basically channels. They are free. This is your SEO or search engine optimization. This is organic social media channels that you have. Newsletter or blocker media would be all of your PR coverage, media press release, anything that gives you publicity but without you paying for it. Finally, we have your paid media, and that is all of your advertising channels that we have talked about. So this is an introductory overview to digital marketing as a practice. If you're interested to learn more, do check out our other classes.